If you're thinking about getting a new drone or replacing your current drone, you might want to watch this video. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Good to see you. I'm Florian, and today we're talking about the recently announced Dji Mavic Mini 2. As some of you may know or not, I recently lost my drone a couple of weeks back and I'm looking for a replacement now. And what better timing could it be that they announced the Dji Mavic Mini 2 as well? So let's talk through a few things and then we see what happened, what you think, what I think. And at the end, perhaps I make a decision which drone is going to be my new replacement for my lost Mavic Mini. Let's talk first through the prices. Let's see what actually the prices are on the current market for the Mavic Mini, Mavic Mini 2 and for the Mavic Air 2 as well. Because I think the price gap between the recently announced DJI Mavic Mini 2 combo and the DJI Mavic Air 2 is not as big, and perhaps it might be worth considering as well. So anyway guys, let's start off with the price of a DJI Mavic drone with the first version. Still sits at £370 in the UK, which I don't think is changing really much. It might drop before Christmas a bit, that you might get a DJI Mavic Mini 1 for $345, $335 maybe, but I can't imagine that this price will really drop much. And the Fly More combo for the DJI Mavic Mini 1 is still $459 as well. Perhaps before Christmas we might be lucky if the price drops a bit. Personally speaking, I think the DJI Mavic Mini 1 was actually a good drone. It was portable, it fell under 250 grams. A lot of drone regulations changing now end of November, beginning of December anyway. So as I'm aware of it, you need to register your Mavic Mini as well in the UK, but you don't need to do any flying tests. But I'm gonna leave some links down below where you can check everything out. Speaking about the price of the new DJI Mini 2, I think £419 for this drone is absolutely justified. It costs around £50 more than the DJI Mavic Mini, and for what you get on updates, I think it's definitely worth the money. What I personally do struggle a bit with is to justify the Fly More combo kit with the DJI Mavic Mini 2. It's £549 or £550 within the UK, and I just don't know if this Fly More combo is really worth the money. Perhaps it sounds a lot, £550. For £200 more you get the DJI Mavic Air 2. So depends what you're looking for. If you want to stay portable, small, then the DJI Mini 2 is definitely your drone to go. But if you look for more resolution, a more powerful drone, more features, you might want to consider the DJI Mavic Air 2, because you get a 48 megapixel sensor compared to a 12 megapixel sensor, but use both cameras basically shooting 4K. So there's definitely a slight point, for my own personal opinion, where I might struggle to justify £550 for the DJI Mavic Mini 2 Fly More combo. However, apparently, what I heard, what I read so far, you can use the batteries from a DJI Mavic Mini 1 in your Mavic Mini 2. However, apparently the weight goes up, so it goes above 250 grams, and you will lose a bit on power with the DJI Mavic Mini 2 because the batteries are slightly different. But apparently it's still the same size, so it would fit as an emergency backup battery into the DJI Mavic Mini 2. I personally wouldn't necessarily recommend it right now if you lose out on a bit of power and you don't get the full motor power out of a DJI Mavic Mini 2 instead of, or if you use the batteries from a DJI Mavic Mini 1. However guys, let's jump over to DJI's website and let's talk through a few things which I think is very interesting for the new DJI Mavic Mini 2 and what is definitely an upgrade and what I think is no big difference compared to the DJI Mavic Mini 1. Heading over to the DJI website, which we all get our information from. So basically the drone stays still with 249 grams, which is absolutely incredible. Like for this what they packed in a new one, and the weight is still for 249 grams. No idea how DJI is doing this, but obviously somehow it did work. So 249 grams really. Apparently the motors got slightly updated as well, so they're a bit more stable within the wind now, rather than level 4, which the DJI Mavic Mini 1 was rated wind-wise. The DJI Mavic 2 or Mini 2 can cope now with a wind level 5, which is around 29 to 38 kilometers per hour wind strength, which is pretty good. So personally speaking, I think what they've done with the Mini 2 is interesting. Let's put it this way. I had the Mavic Mini 1 and I think my biggest frustration was that the connection broke sometimes between a controller and a drone. However, there have been a few tricks where you could walk around, where you could improve your connection between drone and your controller, such as like switch your phone into airplane mode, make sure that you set the channels right for your connection, etc. I think personally what would be the most interesting point for me is definitely the OcuSync 2 video transition. Having a better connection between your drone and your controller is definitely a lot worth. It's probably one of the best upgrades they did with the DJI Mavic Mini 2. In personal opinion, flying without worrying about losing regularly the connection between drone and controller would be, for me personally, my main selling point. The camera got updated from 2.7K up to 4K now, also with 4x zoom function, which is digital rather than optical, which is a nice feature to have. But then on the other hand side, I personally think also you could fly a bit closer to your subject, depends what it is and how safe it is. You could fly also closer to get basically the same function from your DJI Mavic Mini 1 or your Mavic 2. However, 4K is definitely nice to have and is definitely worth having in the meantime. So your gimbal is pretty much still the 3-axis gimbal. Your camera got updated, you got your 4x zoom in the meantime, which is nice, but you could technically fly closer to get the same effect. Please guys, always consider your surroundings and just do this if it's safe. Quick shots are still there, instantly master your aerial photography. Basically your instant quick shots are pretty much still the same. Panorama shots is good to have. I never used it really because it wasn't really something of interest for me. And then keeping scrolling. So basically they even updated or increased the flying time by 1 minute compared to the DJI Mavic 1. Apparently the battery gone a bit smaller compared to the DJI Mavic Mini 1 in volume, but they've been able to increase the flight time by 1 minute. Of course it depends on which flight mode you're in, sport mode, cinema mode, or in a normal mode. 249 grams, absolutely incredible. That's definitely a selling point for me, so I don't need to worry about any registration really, or need to do a flying test or whatsoever. But as mentioned guys, I'll leave some links down below for the updated drone regulations within the UK soon. 10 kilometer or roughly 6 miles video transmission. To be quite frankly guys, I never flew further than 2000 meters. and I never would fly my drone 6 miles away. Right now, if I just fly on a DJI Mavic Mini 2, 6 miles, it's great to have, don't get me wrong, sometimes perhaps you might need it, but I definitely would be too scared that something has happened within 6 miles radius. Level 5 wind resistance, definitely good to have. They improved the stability within the wind, absolutely good, great to have. Gives you a bit more safe feeling to make sure your drone is actually stable. Then they updated to 4K, the camera, great. 4K always good to have, but then on the other hand side, guys, I was actually happy with the 2.7K footage from a DJI Mavic Mini 1 as well. So always good to have more resolution, but then 2.7K I think was pretty good as well, in my personal opinion. So as I said, like, there are a few updates which I definitely think are worth getting, such as like your different transmission controller now, your OcuSync Sync or OcuSync 2, which is definitely good to have. It gives you better, more safer feeling when you're flying with a drone. 31 minutes flight time, of course, it always depends how windy it is or what mode you are in, so depends how you fly. It might be just 28 minutes actually in real life, or you come close to 31 minutes, so it depends how you fly, which mode, but squeezing another minute flight time out is definitely worth having. Size, weight, pretty much all still the same, pretty good. The motors are updated, so you got new propellers as well, which gives you a better stability within a windy area, great to have. So guys, I think that 420 pounds for this drone is absolutely justified. There's nothing wrong with like paying 50 pounds more and actually getting a better transmission controller, a better controller over your drone. You get 4K up to 30 frames per second. You still can shoot you 60 frames per second in 1080. Where I do struggle a bit is, as I mentioned earlier, to justify a price point of 550 pounds for the Fly More combo kit. I've been thinking about like actually getting a single drone, no Fly More combo, just a single drone, and actually using my, here we go, leftover battery pack from a Mavic Mini 1 to charge via USB charger my drone when I'm on a go. So literally just charging my drone via USB cable when I'm out, and just going with one battery for now, or even might try out actually one of the Mavic Mini Mark 1 batteries and see actually how the performance is. Apparently they fit. No one says you can't use them. You just might lose out a bit on power or degrees of battery capacity. So it's definitely worth thinking about the DJI Mavic Mini 2. There are a lot of reviews out, guys, and it wasn't meant to be actually a review talking you through the drone. I just wanted to share my personal opinion with you guys and see what you guys think. Like, do you consider to get the Mavic Mini 2? Do you save a bit longer money up and get a bigger drone? What's your opinion? What you use your drone for? I use my drone for YouTube, for flying around, and I like a portable drone. The DJI Mavic Air 2 is not as big either, so you still can put it in your backpack, take it with you, go out, fly around. But it's also about the regulations in the meantime. The regulations getting more and more and more. So having a drone which falls under 250 grams is still beneficial. You still need to register the drone because of a camera, because it's no toy, but you don't need to do any flying tests because it's basically classified as a toy. But because of a camera, you need to register it because it got a certain megapixel within the UK. So guys, what's your opinion? Let me know. Do you got any questions? Leave them down in the comments. Let me know what you think. And I think I'm gonna go with the DJI Mavic Mini 2. The main selling reason for me probably will be the OcuSync 2.0. To have a good stable connection to your drone. I was happy with the DJI Mavic Mini 1, and if I can use the old batteries as well, or even just use the old batteries as a battery pack and charge it via USB cable when I'm out and about. But I think I'm gonna go with the DJI Mavic Mini 2. So guys, let me know what you think, and if you got any comments, leave them down. Let me know if you're planning to get one. Otherwise, like, comment and subscribe, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers guys.